there, it's me, Kamilah, and I'm here to share my first ever budgeting video for my paycheck to paycheck budgeting for the month of August for my second paycheck. This will be my first time sharing how I manage my money, so if you're interested in finding out how I make my money work for me, stick around. Thanks! Alright, so let's get started. So I'm just missing the top portion, so I'll go ahead and fill that in. So my first paycheck for the month of August actually came on the 24th, and I'll fill that in with what I have. I budget paycheck to paycheck, and I usually get paid twice a month, so I have two sections, as you can see. So for my first paycheck, it usually covers my envelopes, my rent, Adobe, electricity, which I budget $100, Banfield, which is pet insurance, that's $59, sinking funds, that gets $90, and I always take that out immediately when I get paid. Cushion, I put $7, and then miscellaneous $10, and then I total that out, $0 budget. So for my second paycheck, which I will get paid on Friday, that paycheck covers envelopes. I put $325, and I'll go over what I put in my envelopes in a minute. And then, well, I'll go back. Let's see. Let's take a look at my first one. So what I will do is I divide all of my money up into these different areas that I know that paycheck can cover, zero that out, and then I'll put the actual amount that it costs for each one of those, and then this is total, and this is left over, and then whatever I actually have as the total and whatever is left over goes over here. And in this box, this is what I call additional payments for my different savings or my different goals that I'm working on. So debt, savings, I give a little extra to myself, business, technology, and house, and then a little for stocks. I do this one by percentage. So debt gets debt gets 30%, 20, entertainment gets 15, 10, 10, 10, and 5. And these should be percentages. So, and then I'll take whatever is left over, put that there, divide it out, pull the money out to put in whatever envelope or whatever needs to be done, and then that will be, I close out paycheck to paycheck. So we're getting to the point where we'll be ready to pay out or to close out this paycheck. But right now we're just working on the second paycheck. All right, so for our second paycheck, we are putting $325 into our envelopes. Savings, I usually put savings second, but I guess I'll move savings to the end. We'll do school loans. School loans, mine are in forbearance. Well, most of them are, but one of them is not. So I'm still making some payments on that. One, because there's so much interest on my loans, I want to pay some of that down. And then for the one that's not in forbearance, of course, then that one's still due. NTTA, that is the toll system in DFW. Charter, that is my internet, that is 80. Travelers, that is my renter insurance, so that is 20. Geico car insurance, that is 180. T-Mobile, I finally got my T-Mobile bill down. And so now it's $135. It was super high because I was paying for my phone. Canva, $13. Netflix is $15. Metro is $60. I pay for my dad's Metro card since, I don't know, he's my dad. So, and then I am actually still putting some money towards travel just to have some in case I ever want to go anywhere, but it only gets $50. Then I have sinking funds too. I have a second sinking funds, which I'll go over later. And that one gets $35. Then I have savings. So my usual savings is $50. And then this is where I kind of start figuring out how much extra money that I have. I do have one extra thing that I know to put in here, and that is Disney, but I'll put it later because I got Disney Plus so I could watch Black is King, and then I canceled it. So I take all of that. These are all the things that kind of like need to get pulled out that I know that I have to pay. And then from that, I use what's left over to figure out what my extra debt payment can be and what I can put towards savings. I have upped my savings since all the COVID stuff going on and since my student loans are in forbearance. So this allows me to be able to save a little bit extra and get my emergency savings up. I'm looking at then, we have the regular savings for $50. We have our sinking funds too for $35. Debt, so I have 2 debts left that I'm working on this year. One is my Visa, which I should pay off this month, and then the other is my car, and then after that it's just student loans. And so I figured out to be able to pay off my car in the year I would need to pay an additional $220 plus the snowball that I have rolled over in another bank account. And so that one's always $220, and then from there I still have left over more for savings. That's $300 that goes over into savings. Then I have my miscellaneous. That one gets $5. I have cushion for my account. That one gets $8. And then I have, because I got Disney, I have $10 for that. So I went ahead and just pulled the $10 out for Disney instead of just taking it out of my envelopes, because I do have an entertainment section in my envelopes. But I figured it would be fine to just go ahead and pull that $10 out, especially since I live in Texas and it's tax-free weekend coming up, and there are a couple of things I'd like to try to get while it's going to be tax-free. So when I add all that up, that does come to, and I'm not sharing my full numbers right now, but I mean, if you really want to know, you can just add everything up. That comes out to 0 and will balance out, and then I will go through as these bills come out through this week and over the rest of the month. I'll go through and actually pull everything together, and then probably in the next week or the week after, I will go and close out my budget for the first paycheck that I got for this month. So I'll finish filling out the rest of this as I pay those out, and then I will total this out. I'll fill in the rest of that. I will do the same. This is my second paycheck, and since sometimes I get paid 3 times a month, I went ahead and updated all of my files so that for my second paycheck, it all goes on this one, and then here's the payout for that. And then when I have a third check, here's my third check space, which since I don't have to pay any bills, it really doesn't need to be big. It can be small, so third check space, and then if I have any additional payments to make, I will have a space for that. And that is how I do my budget and how I figure out where my money's going to go, and this is the system that works best for me. I tried doing one paycheck or one budget for the whole month. I ended up always just kind of, I don't know, my numbers would just get really wonky because I would try to close out for each paycheck and close out for the month, which when you think about it doesn't make any sense, but I tried to do it anyway. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense for me, at least. So I just close out every paycheck and keep it moving. it leaves everything really balanced, and it lets me see exactly where my money is and where it's going and how it's working. So at the end of this week, I will actually do my envelopes and get those nice and updated, and I'll show you what that looks like and how I manage that. I have a couple of envelopes with different categories, and as you can see, I put different amounts for each paycheck because I pull out a little different for some things, and I'll explain that when I go over my envelopes. And then I'll take a look at my sinking funds too, because I have my first sinking funds, which when I get paid for my first paycheck in September, I'll go over that sinking funds, and sinking funds 2 I'll go over on Friday when I get paid. And so that will allow me, you'll see those different categories and why I created that, and then also how in September all of that will be shifting around, and my budget will be changing pretty much for the next 2 or 3 months consistently. My budget will be changing every month, just because, as you all know, we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with student loans, to see if the forbearance will be removed, to see what's going to happen there. So I've already done my income driven repayment plan. I've already been recertified for that. I know how much it would cost every month. So I've already planned out if I have to go ahead and pay student loans with the interest and everything building and accruing, then I already know how much that's going to cost. And then I also know that how much I want to put aside for my different priorities, because they will be shifting as I will be paying off my number one debt that I'm working on, which is my Visa card. That will get paid off this month, and then I'm using some savings to pay that off. And since having an emergency savings is my second major goal for this year, I will just be paying myself back for my emergency savings to save myself on the interest that I would have paid on the Visa card had I stretched it out through the end of the year. So I'll just save myself a couple of hundred there, which will be helpful in the long run, and be able to still build up my emergency savings, and still be switching some of my other accounts around to work on some of my additional goals on top of that. So I have a lot going on. I have a lot that I'm looking forward to and that I'm working towards, and I just want to thank you if you watched this far for coming along on this journey with me. I mean, or at least starting out on this journey, and let me know how your budget is going. Let me know if you've had any significant changes. I know a lot of people have shifted the way that they're budgeting, and I know that a lot of people have actually started budgeting because of everything going on with COVID. So if you are budgeting, what are your goals? What are you looking towards for the end of the year? And I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.